Morning guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School back out here at the old pole lathe. I wanted to try a fairly complicated project today, and I've got a piece of poplar about, I don't know, 8-9 inches long in this pole lathe, and it's offset. Well, it's not going to run anywhere close to being true because I didn't center mark it. I offset the marks on purpose to make what's called a turned English spoon. And what they would do is they would offset it to give it crank or offset the bowl a little bit, and then they would turn the handle on the pole lathe and then carve the bowl with the axe and the spoon knife. Thought it was a pretty cool thing. I saw it in a book last night, so I thought I would go ahead and give it a try today. I'm trying to look at this thing and figure out, this is my most offset end. So that should be my bowl end, and this should be my handle end. So I'll start carving from here down as I go, flip-flopping it back and forth. Alright, so this ought to be fun. It's going to get more offset as I go down toward the bowl. So I'm just going to kind of introduce the gouge very slowly here. All these projects are new to me, as is the pole lathe. So I'm trying to kind of do things a little bit slower and methodical while I learn it. Then I can speed up. Right now I'm only catching the offset side of this thing with the gouge. Okay, so I've turned this thing around a couple of times in the lathe to just kind of get everything where I want it. The lathe is always going to work toward the smaller diameter. The rope will always work its way that way, especially when your piece is offset, it seems like. So I made a small area here. Now I'm going to come up and go in front of that. Now I'm not going to cut anything beyond about this point because that's where my spoon bowl is going to be. So I just need to start working my way back to this diameter and then work everything down from there. So again, this has got to start out slow because now I'm working on the full offset again. And I'm watching my rope too, so I don't cut my rope. So I'm being cognizant of where that's at the whole time. Now I'm going to take this all the way back about to where I want my bowl to start, so that I know where my stop point is, and then start turning things down from there. Again, I got more offset on this end than the other end. It's going to take a little longer to get this down to a round. Now you're starting to be able to see, now that I'm getting this down to round, how this is going to, the handle's going to be down here and the bowl part is up here. And that's going to give me that crank when I cut that in at an angle. That's going to automatically give me that crank for that spoon, and the handle will be turned and the bowl will be hand carved. Okay, I've got most of the handle portion down to a cylinder now, but you can see how easy it is to make a mistake. I cut my rope right here with my chisel. Just coming over too far. Caught that gouge right there on that rope. Luckily I got plenty of length, it's not a big deal. And I think it's okay for right now. I'll just run it till it breaks. Or I'll change it when I take a break here in a minute. But it's that easy to make a mistake like that and chop your rope if you're not careful. Get too close to it. Okay, well, my rope finally broke, so I had to fix that anyway. But now I'm down to, get my spacing right here. Now I'm down to a pretty good cylinder here where I can get a little more aggressive with the gouge, because everything in this section is running straight now, which is the whole purpose of offsetting this spoon, is you're grinding that offset down to a straight, which is going to give your bowl offset when you're done. You know, this is really just like any other skill that you're trying to learn. there are a lot of subtle nuances that you have to understand that make things go easier, go faster, make it more repeatable. Kind of coming at that thing at an angle like I would with a chisel. Still not as good with the other hand as I am with the one. Kind of been practicing going back and forth either hand here. I'm pretty well ambidextrous as it is with most things. So I've been trying to keep that going with this. You know, again, I liken this very much to flint knapping. You're creating a high ridge and you're removing the ridge, just like you do in your flint knapping. Woodworking is not much different than stoneworking when it comes to that kind of stuff. Whether you're carving bowls, carving spoons, carving with a knife, carving with a chisel, it's all a matter of creating ridges and removing the ridges. Creating valleys that make a ridge and then removing that ridge to make things smooth. And you can get a pretty smooth finish even with a roughing gouge if you turn it sideways like a chisel. It's surprising how much you can get done with just one tool. You're gonna dull tools when you're going and doing this, and it's just not because you don't have a good tool, it's because you're removing a lot of wood over a long period of time. A strapping block, double-sided, is what I use. It's just a coarse on one side, medium on the other side as far as the leather goes. And then I've just got 100 grit on both sides, and I just turn the tool just like that and pull it away from me. So I'm pulling down toward that edge every time, just like that. And I do the coarse side for 4 or 5 strokes, and I do the fine side for 4 or 5 strokes. Pulling it away from me, and that keeps that thing just razor blade sharp. So this is kind of the hardest part of this whole thing right now, is carving this bowl side, because everything is completely offset. So you almost have to look past and get tunnel vision to see those grooves coming around, so you know where to present the chisel or the gouge. It's hard to explain. It's taken me a while to get used to it. I'm still catching bigger chunks as I go. But I'm trying to go as slow as I can here and just chip out along this axis of this thing and then come back and just see those lines coming around to know where to put this gouge. Getting there. We're getting there. Alright, so now I really need to work on this transition. This is my bowl up here. And I need to work on this transition right here from the bowl, back of the bowl down. So that's where I'm concentrating my efforts right now. Okay, I think we got our blank pretty well done now. Now it's just a matter of axe and knife work, and we'll continue that on part 2 of this video. Appreciate you guys joining me.